Hello, my name is John, and today we'll be reading Are Universities Worth It? By Paul Johnson, posted on Forbes. A new academic year is about to start. At this time every year I find myself asking these questions. What ought universities to be doing, and are they doing it? After all, to take 4 years out of a young adult's life is a major investment, and we ought to be clear whether or not it's bringing in a worthwhile return. However, our societies seldom produce clear replies to these fundamental questions. The universal assumption is that higher education is valuable, and all governments are pledged to ensure that more and more people receive it. Plato founded the first center of higher studies in a suburb of Athens in the early 4th century BC. He called it the Academy, and its object was the pursuit of wisdom, to which he had been introduced by his mentor Socrates. But remember that Socrates was sentenced to death by a jury of 501 Athenian citizens because he had been teaching young people that wisdom was best obtained by learning to think clearly for oneself. Aristotle, Plato's pupil, founded a second college in Athens called the Lyceum and taught there for 12 years, but he left it to go into voluntary exile, lest, as he put it, the Athenians should sin twice against philosophy, that is, order his execution. These facts are worth recalling, as they show that most civilized city of the ancient world was also confused about what higher education was supposed to achieve. Universities as such were first created in the Middle Ages to train the clergy, and they began assuming their modern form in the 18th century Germany. For 2 centuries, Germany was home to the best universities in the world, leading the field in philosophy, theology, philology, and most of the sciences. But this was the same Germany that under Otto von Bismarck became a militaristic state, and under Adolf Hitler a totalitarian one. Germany led the world into the 2 most destructive wars in history. Hitler always received higher ratings from the students than from any other group in society, his views being strongly supported by a majority of German academics, with the world-famous philosopher Martin Heidegger setting the pattern. So universities and the education they provide do not necessarily impart wisdom. What they do convey in general terms is not so easily defined. Prime Minister Vladimir Putin of Russia received a routine dose of higher education in the twilight of the Soviet Union as a prelude to entering the USSR's secret police community, an intellectual culture in which he still remains. President Barack Obama found Harvard Law School to be invaluable in providing patrons and a fast-track entry into politics. There he absorbed the left liberal culture that is Harvard's hallmark, which he is now applying to governing the U.S. and leading the Western world. Prime Minister David Cameron had 3 years at England's oldest and most prestigious university, Oxford. Cameron's sojourn there was notable for his belonging, along with other members of his cabinet, to the Bullingdon, a club with a vague connection to horses and a more specific activity of consuming large quantities of champagne. Such frivolities are not unknown in the U.S. The greatest disappointment in the life of Franklin Delano Roosevelt was his failure to get elected to the porcelain, the club occupying the same position at Harvard as the bullying done at Oxford. FDR went on to win 4 terms in the White House to general, but by no means universal applause. More than one path to success. The quality of higher education received seems to bear no relation to the success or failure of most presidents. The 2 greatest, George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, had to learn the hard way. On the other hand, another distinguished president, Woodrow Wilson, first attracted notice as president of Princeton. It is striking how much or how little great inventors and scientists learned at university. Thomas Edison never attended one, discovering his genius instead while working as a teenage telegraph operator. Charles Darwin went to Cambridge to study for the church, but derived the greatest benefit to his career during long rambles with J.S. Henslow, a professor of botany. Darwin was known in his student days as the man who walks with Henslow. What Cambridge did give Darwin was the opportunity to reinforce his capacity to work hard and systematically, and to expand the range of his inquiring mind. Indeed, the study of universities and the great men and women who have attended them leads me to think that the best of these schools are characterized not so much but by what they teach and how they teach it, but by the extent they provide opportunities and encouragement for students to teach themselves. The best also help to install certain intellectual virtues in young minds, including respect for the indispensable foundation of democracy, the rule of law, the need to back up opinions with clear arguments, empirical evidence and hard work, the varying importance of resolute conviction and friendly compromise, when appropriate, open-mindedness at all times, and the perpetual need for courage in the pursuit of truth. These are essentially moral qualities which must form the basis of any university education. College presidents and trustees must satisfy themselves that this is precisely what their institutions are providing, as must corporate and individual benefactors. In the long run, this is the only way we can ensure that universities justify the resources and time they consume. This video is a production of the School of the White Crane. Hi, my name is John Brooker. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and please share this video with family and friends and on social media. May God richly bless you, my beloved.